Today on Sin, it is action-packed because we have not one, not two, not three, but four of all the major sports to get into. No delays, no stoppages, as we saw in Pittsburgh and in Los Angeles. We'll get into that. We'll also get into how Bama fans are still able to cheer.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots.
You stay classy, San Diego, because clearly Dodger fans are not.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
All right, welcome in. Today is October 7th. Ooh, it's getting chillier outside. It is October, episode 20 of the Sincast. I am Adam Marino, as always, joined by Miles behind enemy lines and Mr. T.I., Mr. 30,000. And we're getting colder all over the country, but I want to start in the Bay Area as a new record 100 degrees at game time. And I am blaming that on the loss, that and not having a kicker. Let's talk about the NFC West, as they are the biggest joke right now, I feel like, in the NFL. Miles, were you able to, I'm going to put you on the spot because you're like a math, weird science guy. Have you done the math on the number of wins and losses in the division? I'll pull it up if you haven't.
So we've got
For the
Seattle
West.
3 wins. We've got San Francisco, Arizona, both with 2, so that puts us at 7. And then you got the LA Rams at 1. So you're 8. They've all played, 5 games now? So they must be 8 and 12 because no one's had a bye. So that division has to be 4 games underwater. That's awful. You know, not far behind though. The AFC East, the AFC least, is abysmal as well. As we're learning quickly that the Buffalo Bills on the other side of the country are hot garbage as well. Houston Texans, we hate them, Ti, but the reality is they are the class of the AFC South and making our division look a little bit less than horrible. But to see San Francisco at 2 and 3 to start the year, not on my bingo card. I don't care what injuries you got. I don't care that CMC's out, especially you got a solid backup running back who's been filling up for my fantasy team. What the hell is going on,
Today he
Adam?
fumbled
What
the game away.
the hell?
He fumbled the game away inside the red zone, ready to punch it in, ready to make it a 2-score game, and make Kyle Shanahan 39-0 when leading by 10 points in the fourth quarter. Now, Shanahan is 38-1.
But here's the good news, Adam. The good news is, because we know your division sucks, Thursday night at Seattle, you win, and you're suddenly in first place again. So football's not lost. 12 games to go, and you're 1 win away in Seattle from being back on top.
For being in the driver's seat. Yeah,
Thank you, math weird science guy.
Yeah, the math is
I
mathing.
had to do my addition live on camera, but I'm allowed.
You need a little side channel, math weird science guy.
Math behind enemy lines.
Yeah,
not to be confused with meth behind enemy lines, but math behind enemy lines.
Same, but different.
Which is done every Thursday after our show. So reminder to watch our shows on Thursdays as well. Be sure to like and subscribe to Sports Idiot Nation. The best way to watch is on YouTube, as we are coming up on 5,000 subscribers. Shout out to everyone there. But yes, also follow us on every social media that you can imagine. We are there for your funny and humorous posts, as it were. All right, let's get to the not funny and the downright frightening is the black and blue division. And I've done that math. They have 14 wins and 5, count them, 5 losses. That's it. I'm going to say that one more time. The NFC North is 14-5. That doesn't even make sense because you feel like, well, wait a minute. At this point, haven't they played each other enough? And nope, they still have an undefeated team in their division. They have a team that's 3-1. Like, what? Like, that no one talk about your bingo card. Ti, you didn't respect Caleb Williams. We know that. So you didn't think the Bears would be over 500, right?
I mean, I didn't say they'd be wouldn't be over 500, but I just didn't say he's the second coming of Michael Jordan,
of the Lord,
savior of the city.
Ditka.
But yeah, he looked good today. I mean, he finally made DJ Moore happy. Gave him 2 touchdowns, or yesterday rather. I mean, but
my daughter would look good against Carolina. Come on.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it's Carolina, and then you look at Green Bay. I mean, they were going against the Rams. I mean,
Jordan Love made a lot of mistakes. A lot.
Well, he's coming back from injury. I mean, he's still and he's still young. But I mean, I didn't realize how terrible the Rams are without a true wide receiver. And I know Matt Stafford is aging and getting up there, but he could still sling it. But they just
their offensive line is hurt too.
They look really bad. And then Minnesota is now 5-0, and Aaron Rodgers started out the game with 2 picks within the first 5 passes.
It was 17-0, I think, before the game started. Basically.
Yeah, so I mean,
we were all sleeping.
And I'm not sure the Lions situation. Were they on a bye? Were they on a
yes.
bye? Yeah, that's what I thought.
We're a team that you may know of.
Yeah, Tennessee Titans. That's right. That's why I enjoyed my Sunday.
It was a good day yesterday. You didn't lose.
Yeah, it was great. Stress-free, marked safe. I was marked safe on the internet, and I made sure everybody marked themselves safe before noon. Let us know that we were going to make it through together, and we did. We did as fans. We made it through, and got a big game coming up. Big game. Jabroni Ponies.
Right. Right. As the Ponies, they extend their record of losing in Jacksonville and finding new ways to lose in Jacksonville.
It wasn't Joe Flacco's fault. It wasn't that guy's fault. That dude was tearing it up.
Yeah, to the chagrin of your fantasy football opponent, as T.I. has picked him up in fantasy, I noticed.
Hey, it was dire situation for me this week.
Yeah,
dire.
You don't have to say that.
Well, I got
Jalen Joe Flacco. There's no
Jalen Hurts. Had Jalen Hurts on bye, and my backup was Matt Stafford. I was like, I am not starting Matt Stafford. No way, dude, no way. And once they announced Flacco as a starter, I was like, why not, man? Roll him out there. He's better than what Matt Stafford's doing. Do you know that for 2 out of the 4 weeks this year, Matt Stafford has got 1 fantasy point? One fantasy point. Legit. That terrible. 1 fantasy point in 2 out of 4 weeks. Yeah. So I was just like, no, I'm not rolling that dude out there. No way, And turned out
he
out
put
to
up
be
numbers, Flacco.
340 and 3 touchdowns, and then ran for 20 or 30 yards. So not bad for a 50-year-old.
No kidding. That's crazy. Yeah, he's 1 year older than you, I think.
I think so. And then my man Tank Bigsby from Auburn, he tore it up for Jacksonville.
So
2 touchdowns.
Did you guys see? There was some drama with your foe there, the Texans, because it was the revenge game for Diggs against Buffalo, and it's funny that you can laugh on other teams' drama when it doesn't affect you. Yes, I know they're in their division, but I think you guys will be the first fans to admit, look, the Titans aren't doing anything this year. Houston won it last year. They're a good football team. So that it can still be outside of your, we want the Texans to lose every game. Yes, I get it. But the drama of the Buffalo Bills having no receivers, having terrible. Josh Allen saying that he likes to be able to spread the ball around, and then look at what his numbers are for this game against the Texans. You look at the stats for Josh Allen. He was 9 for 30 for 131 yards, and basically his counterpart only had 10 incompletions, threw the ball 38 times for 331 yards. And so it's like, okay, Josh Allen, you try and make a dig at Diggs by saying, oh, it's nice to be able to spread the ball around. But then push come to shove, you have no one to throw it to, and your numbers are very, very, very terrible. And you
Sure.
lose. I know it was only a 3-point game, but um, it was. I mean, they squandered a 17-point lead. It was just bad. So, are you guys like still in the drama of Texans are in your division and know at all costs you just want them to lose, or do you find this kind of funny with Josh Allen?
Well, it goes both ways on that because at first I did do a double take when his stats came up on the ticker, seeing 9 for 30. I thought I misread. I was like, no, surely there's a 1 in front of that. No, he
19 for
was
30. Yeah, like
9 of 30 yesterday. So seeing that, and look, reality is set in. Houston's going to win the division again. But I think what's more important is we are seeing that no one in the AFC is going to touch Kansas City. Between Baltimore having their struggles, I don't care that they've won 3 straight. They went into a crappy Cincinnati and barely survived. Their defense could not stop a cold. And we're seeing that both Buffalo and Houston are not in the same class as Kansas City. So I think there's a mix. I think we can get great joy out of yesterday's game with both Josh Allen not being able to pull it off after talking all that smack and having that comeback on the end when they were starting to taunt Houston down the stretch. They're really thinking they were going to win the game, and still Houston pulling it out. But dude, Houston, go ahead and go 14-3 for all I care. Win the division. You're not beating Kansas City. You're not going to the Super Bowl.
right. Yeah.
Or the refs, or Taylor Swift. There's a lot. There are a lot of factors there.
Well
No,
documented.
Josh Allen, I think what's going on there, he is missing his number one receiver. Obviously, not to mention Diggs. His real number one. He's missing Diggs, but he's also missing Tupac Shakur there. I'm not sure what his first name is. I just call him Tupac. But he's a good pass catcher, man. He really is like the only guy they have. And then he's got this. Then he's got a rookie filling in, Keon Coleman, and they're not on the same page yet, and they can't connect there, so he can't utilize Dalton Kincaid. And then he's got James Cook that's doing his thing. But I mean, let's be real, he's James Cook. Like, he's going to get you yards, but he's not going to take over a game. So yeah, he can say all he wants about spreading the ball around, but yeah, without without Diggs, he's hurting. But even without Shakir there, he's definitely not. The options are very limited. So I don't know how long he's out, but they looked awful today. Looked terrible.
But wait, they have Curtis Samuel. And why is that a
Yeah.
big deal? He started for me on my fantasy. He got me .40 points.
That's beautiful.
40 points.
Yeah, he's the
I
only
was
reason
projected
he's
to win. I had an 80% chance of winning. I started him, and now I have a 49% chance of winning because there's still the game tonight.
game changer.
So, but yeah, Buffalo.
He's only there because apparently the OC or something was with him in Washington or something. I don't know what
Out
the
of
story
control.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's OC out of
But
control.
hey, Curtis Samuel was good back in the day, but yeah, he's done. But yeah, I mean Houston. I mean, yeah, I agree with Miles. They're probably gonna win the division. I mean, unless we run off this, 14 Titans finish off 14-3, like I'm predicting and expect us to.
Yeah.
We still got a lot of division games left, a lot of football left to play. But Houston had all the chances to lose the game today, and I just think an inept Buffalo team was the reason why they won. Many other teams, including possibly the Titans, would have probably beat them today the way they were playing down the stretch. So I'm not 100% sold that they're going to make a run, any different than last year. It's kind of like, it's Kansas City and everybody else. And yeah, Baltimore can put up a lot of points, but defense has got a leak. Cincinnati's just now starting to play football. Who knows who they are? I mean, Cleveland is.
When you're 1-4, you're already in a deep hole.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're hanging in the Titans world, with one win, and
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
has
they
been
just look
sacked
awful.
like 18 times
Cleveland
in
looks
this month, in
terrible.
the last month. 18 times, something crazy like that.
He needs to.
So the
needs to
last thing I
relax
want
a
to
little
say,
bit. Needs to relax a little bit,
yeah, RELAX. Yeah. So the last two things I want to say before we jump to college football is, how would you like to be 19 of 24, pass for 3 touchdowns, and still lose? Better yet, nay, I say. How would you like to be 31 of 39 for 5 touchdowns and lose? Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow, I bring those up because by far those were the best 2 games of the week, I think. And you look at those performances, Cincinnati makes you laugh because they find a way in overtime to miss field goals. How many times was this? What, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where they had 2 games in a matter of a month where they missed field goals to win a game and then came back and lost. And it's like, Cincinnati, you almost beat what we were talking about, Miles. They had them, and then they had Baltimore, and like, dude, they are going nowhere fast too. A lot like San Francisco, except San Francisco's division is still winnable, but Cincinnati's getting to be like, yikes.
Well, and that's the reality in the NFL is, yes, you have great teams, good teams, bad teams, worse teams. But on any given Sunday, when you have 32 teams full of professionals, you're going to play close games against anyone. The best teams pull out those close games, even when they're playing against bad teams. Cincinnati's not doing it, and that's the difference between the years when they had slow starts, but they get it together in games like this at home against a good team, possibly even a better team than them, but they find a way to win, then they get on a roll, yada, yada, yada. But they're not going to do it this year. I think they're done for. But then switching gears over to the NFC, what the heck kind of world do we live in where possibly Minnesota, Detroit, Washington, and Atlanta right now might be the 4 best teams in the NFC? What kind of bizarre world is this?
Very bizarre. No one had that. It's exciting as a Niner fan and a fan of the NFC. I'm beyond bewildered at like what is happening, and I know that my division's bad, so that gives me hope for my team to have some sort of success. But Minnesota, like, no one saw. We talk every week about their defense, and they made Aaron Rodgers look bad. And he kind of started to get it towards the end, but then again threw a pick. Like, so I just think that defense is legit.
Yeah, they're good for sure.
Also, in the weeks where their defense is kind of slouched, their offense made it happen. They find ways to win, and that's why Minnesota is going to stay near the top of that division all year and definitely make the playoffs, is because even when their defense is a little off, Sam Darnold and that offense with JJ, they find ways to win. And Aaron Jones, he's no slouch.
It's like Jurassic Park.
They're dangerous, man.
Find a way.
They're dangerous.
Life finds a way.
Yeah, Jurassic
Jeff
Park.
Goldblum style.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, up here, MVP front runners. You've got Kirk Cousins out here throwing for 800 yards in a game. Actually making Drake London look like a utilized player. I mean,
you like that? You like that?
You like that?
Like that. I forgot that he even existed. And yeah, Kirk Cousins got this kid balling, and Bijan Robinson is being actually used. He needs to be used more since he's on my fantasy team. So I appreciate you giving him a few more touches there, ATL. But they look pretty good. And like we said last week, there are a few of our teams, surprising teams, to watch. Obviously, the Vikings, and Bucks, but I guess you could kind of throw them in the mix as well. So
yeah, as we check in, Miles's team was kind of Minnesota. They looked good, obviously. Here's how you know my team, and when I say my team, make sure you check out, if you have not checked out previous episodes, episode 18, exactly a week ago, where we kind of gave our second team that we're picking this year, that we are like, okay, this team's fun to watch. We still root for our team, but we're going to keep an eye on this team. And mine is the Commanders. And all I'll say is, the Commanders, I don't need to tell you how well they did. I will say that Marcus Mariota got some playing time.
Ooh.
That's all I need to say.
Or you could just say they played the Browns. You could just say that. They played the Browns.
Right.
That's good too.
Typical Washington teams don't beat the
but
crap out of Cleveland. They're typically in a one-score game with Cleveland.
the other
That's
team,
the difference.
Oh yeah, for sure. They look good. But the other team that I threw out as well, because I was kind of like, well, got a little back and forth between the Bucks, was also the Saints, which play the Chiefs tonight. So that's going to be interesting to see. We'll really find out who they are.
That's going to be
tonight.
fun. I got Kelsey going, and if he goes off, I win my matchup.
So, like, if the Saints make a statement, say they win the game, I mean, then we'll be really taking a harder look at them. So, we don't really know yet. So we'll see. Like right now, all 4 of our picks could be making statement wins.
So we'll see when the Saints go marching in.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You've been holding on to that one? You've been holding on to that one?
I was waiting. You set them up, I knock them down. This is how we roll on Sports Idiot Nation. Be sure to follow us on all social medias. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and the most fun way to watch is on YouTube. Are you a part of the over 4,000 subscribers? Ask yourself that, and then say yes, and click the subscribe button. So Miles gave us the best segue, and he didn't even know it. So congratulations. When you mentioned that the Washington, he's like, sure, I did. So you said the Washington Commanders, they usually don't beat up on a team like the Brownies. It's usually 20-17, and they either win or they lose. Just like as we shift to college football, the Hoosiers of Indiana, because I will not be a homer, and I will not allow Miles to be a homer. I live in Indiana. Miles went to that school. But I will admit, this is just a story. Like, it deserves to be talked about because IU never plays any college team in their first 6 games. They usually play the Maryland School of the Blind. However, they lose half the time, and the others they win again 20-17. Now, Miles, they're not doing that now. So we have to talk about it.
I can't believe that we're actually spending time on this podcast legitimately talking about my Indiana Hoosiers, and it matters. Up to number 18 in the country now. 3-way tie. How often do you see that in a poll? 3 teams ranked number 18.
What?
But I think the number one thing that people haven't really thought about, along with Indiana being the first bowl-eligible team in the country, joined a little bit later by Miami, who survived. But Indiana, sure, their competition's been subpar, but one, they've beaten all 6 teams by at least 14 points. They've dropped 40-plus the last 5 games in a row, first time in school history. But get this, in 6 games, in 360 minutes of football, they have trailed for exactly 0 seconds. They have yet to trail all season, and they are not just beating these subpar teams, they're hammering them, kind of like Washington did yesterday against Cleveland. But to prove they are a solid team, they are playing conference foes. They're going on the road like they did Saturday in Northwestern, a place they hadn't won since 1993, and they didn't play well. They really didn't play well. Game gets close late. Typical IU teams, when they get close late, especially on the road in conference, they lose those games. Full stop.
I've been to one of those games.
Well, and hell, that Rutgers game you and I went to about 9 years ago at home, blew a 25-point lead. That game you and I went to up in Michigan.
Who was that receiver?
Years ago. For IU?
No.
Or Rutgers or Michigan?
Rutgers.
No.
Kenny
We're
Britt.
going way back.
Kenny Britt.
Shoot.
He was legit, and I think he played in the NFL, I thought. Did he not?
Who? Kenny Britt did? He played for the Titans, if that's what you're thinking, but...
No.
Yeah.
Was it Kenny Britt? There was a receiver.
He was really good at Rutgers.
IU was up 3 touchdowns, and Miles looks at me and my buddies, and he's like, IU's losing this game. And we're like, dude, they're up 3 touchdowns. And then Rutgers threw it to that guy every time, and he broke 11 tackles.
And that really is the difference, because yesterday, even when IU's not playing very well, we get to the fourth quarter only up by 3 on the road. I finally have this confidence, which is something you never feel. And it's like, no, IU's still going to find a way to win this game. And sure enough, next 2 offensive possessions, they score, and they still win by 3 scores. Northwestern may not be good. It doesn't matter. IU typically doesn't win these games. Second time in school history, we're 6-0, and we can actually feel good about this team. They could go ahead and lose out. They won't, but they could, and we're still playing football in late December.
Yeah, and
That's right.
what did that do
IU
for your
finds a
coach?
way. IU finds a way.
Right. And with Sig, they truly do. And 6 games into his tenure, he has a clause that any year IU makes a bowl game, he gets a 1-year contract extension. So he's coached 6 games at the school, and he's already got a contract extension. Unbelievable.
Knock it up. So quick.
One thing I was going to say though, since you guys were doing this segue from parallel to Washington there, and since Adam, you hinted at Michigan. How about Michigan? They look pretty good, huh? I thought they would at least put a little more of a fight up against Washington. I mean, come on now. I mean, I wasn't expecting. I mean,
very bad look.
I know, like really bad.
Lose by double digits.
Yeah, and they hyped it up on TV like national championship rematch, and I was like legitimately laughing at the advertisement. Like, nah, I don't think so.
And Washington's 4-2, and we make fun of them, but okay.
So yeah, we'll see what they are when they play at IU in 3 weeks.
And that's what I was just getting to that. So let's actually have some fun and look ahead here. So the Hoosiers of IU play Nebraska, Washington, at Michigan State versus Michigan, at Ohio State, and then of course the Oak and Bucket, right? Against Purdue. That's the rivalry.
And that's the guarantee win. So that's how we know IU is going to have a winning record this year. They could lose 5 straight games. We're going to beat Purdue by 70.
Oh gosh, yeah. So, but realistically, okay, Nebraska. You look at Nebraska. They are 5-1, and Nebraska,
decent team. That's going to be a tough game.
They lost to Illinois, and that's about it, right?
That is,
but
it's 1 loss.
Right. Other than that, though, they should beat Michigan State. I know it's at Michigan State, but they should. And I can't believe I am saying this, but I do believe it's in my heart. You should beat Michigan.
Right, and maybe beat them by 2 scores at home. Right now,
and then,
if you look on the ESPN predictor, IU's got a 70% chance to win that game.
Yeah. Your only loss
October 7th.
Could be at Ohio State. It is very possible.
It is very possible. And you know what that means? If we go 11-1, we probably miss the Big Ten championship game because you got Oregon and Penn State in there who we don't play. But that could be a good thing for IU. 11-1 probably puts us in the playoff if our only loss is at Ohio State and you have wins over Nebraska, Washington, Indiana, and Michigan.
And
that's why they made a 12-team playoff so Indiana could win a national championship.
It's now officially on Sports Idiot Nation. You heard it here first. Conspiracy. So
collusion.
Let's talk.
Collusion.
Speaking of conspiracy, what 40-year-old can speak on Alabama that in their lifetime of being 40 years old never ever. And here's what I'll say. So we all know what happened at Vanderbilt. I thought it was 2 things were so hilarious to me. Right after the game, on the screen, they had the interview of Nick Saban saying that the only place in the SEC that is by far the easiest place to play and get a win. No disrespect, but it's the easiest place is Vanderbilt, and they play that like on the video board, and then. How far the fans got with the goalpost, impressive.
Yeah, they were carrying over people's cars. This city didn't care. They're just like, hey, whatever, this is great, They loved it.
So they got it all the way down Broadway, dumped it into the Cumberland River. So that goes upstream. Those goalposts actually might be outside my back window right now because I don't live too far from the Cumberland River
you should
up
go
here
get
in
it.
Clarksville.
Put it on eBay. Put it on eBay. Vanderbilt goalpost from
sell it back to the school. I'll sell it back. I'll sell it back to them.
You can trade it. Trade it for some tickets.
Oh, come on. I can still get those for damn cheap, even though they beat Bama. Come on.
I think they hand them out. They hand them out at the counter at Kroger, 2-for-1s.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, hey, big deal for the city. I mean, it's wild. Like, yeah, seeing the video and the pictures of all the kids carrying down there. They the nerds had fun. Then pocket protectors came off, and they got a little loose.
Yeah, I mean, hell, the city of Nashville getting to cheer for a football team because we know it ain't for the Titans. It's now for the Doors. Anchor down.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how far Vanderbilt can take it. I mean,
That's two now. They got Virginia Tech, and then they took a hapless Missouri team on the road. They were top 10 at the time.
Yeah, almost
knocked them off. Yeah, but that's another game not enough people are talking about is Missouri getting exposed this last week. But the funniest part of that, because no one cares about Mizzou other than our beloved sponsor, Big A Bates. No one else really is a Missouri fan. They went into Kyle Field at Texas A&M, got throttled. But the story of the week there was their head coach, Eli Drinkwitz, what a last name that is, wasn't focused on the game plan at all. He was focused on one of his female staffers, who I believe was the assistant director, or is the assistant director for on-campus recruiting, because that needs an assistant director for some reason. But her brother is the backup quarterback for Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, who had got the last few starts but wasn't playing this week. He decided to not allow her come to any practices because he was so worried that she was going to feed information to her brother, the backup quarterback for A&M. Didn't think she had enough integrity to do her job without slipping information to the opponent. Oh, yeah, because that's what was going to help them win the game this week. They go out and get blasted by 31, and I'm glad they did because, Coach Drinkwitz, you are honorable mention for Idiot of the Week this week.
And it means a lot to get honorable mention because it means there was just one more idiot that was just a little bigger of an idiot than you.
Yeah, and what's that sound?
Mayday! Mayday! Cover your brains, boys and girls. Put on your tinfoil hats because this is Idiot of the Week.
All right, boys and girls, this week's Idiot of the Week, coming all the way out from left field. Some idiot for the LA Dodgers fan base. Don't know his name, don't want to know his name. I assume it's a guy, though. Decided to throw a projectile in the form of a baseball at the San Diego Padres left fielder Profar during Game 2 of last night's game in the 7th inning. Yeah, just when you thought that series was going to get even more spicy, Dodger fans decide to inject themselves with a projectile trying to kill Padres players, which I see the thought process behind it, but you're actually going to execute it. Get out of here.
You talk about backfiring. Ever since that time, they went on to break the single game record for home runs as they scored 6 more runs to win 10-2 last night. So, like,
they got what they deserve.
We invite you, please do it again, please. Because if the team is going to score 6 runs after you do that, then please just start in the first inning. Get it over with. Get it going, bud. Because we want to see the Dodgers lose for sure. So congratulations to the Idiot of the Week for making our evening last night.
Whoever the hell he is. The first unnamed Idiot of the Week.
Like, they allow you just to bring a baseball in? I mean, I know you might leave with a foul ball, but they allow you to just bring one in, too?
Yeah, because you want to get it autographed, maybe.
Yeah, but it's the playoffs. I mean, that's probably not happening. They got bigger things to do. It's like, maybe security should have been like, this guy looks kind of, this grown man here looks a little suspect. Or, yeah, you're right. There you go. Maybe he caught the foul ball and he decided he just wanted to do a nice gesture and give it back to him. That's all he was trying to do.
Nice gesture. I'm sure it was,
and
a nice gesture.
Hold it at his head.
So, yeah, the baseball playoffs are getting spicy. Again, big reason to follow us on social media. We love to post very many up-to-the-minute posts. And I remember seeing one on, was it Friday when it was 6-6 Mets-Phillies? And the Phillies ended up winning. I know we had a post go out that was like, hey, this is baseball. Like, we talked about it before.
That was Saturday, but yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
Was it Saturday?
This past weekend, yeah.
Yeah. So I knew it was like a couple days ago. So I love that because that's when, every slider matters, every circle change matters, like every pitch matters. I feel like baseball should definitely be shooting a commercial and having something like that where every pitch matters, or have like some dialogue by Brad Pitt or
Jose
Denzel Washington.
Canseco. Jose Canseco.
Yeah, that's same.
Talking about when the alien family of Bigfoot came and visited.
Right, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And they'd be like, that's great, Jose, but can you get back to the script about the every pitch matters stuff?
That's great, Jose, but can
He's
you
like,
see?
they really liked me and wanted to adopt me. They fed me chocolate. By the way, if anybody thinks I'm making this up, I'm not. If you want to go follow some tweets about a year or so ago. Jose Canseco had some good ones. But
So
no, you're
Miles-
right though. It does those baseball. You get those 1-to-1, those 2-to-1 games. Like right now, like there's nothing like it. Playoff baseball's the best.
Miles, give us the rundown so far of the playoffs, and as we go into this week, where do you see teams getting eliminated?
Yeah, so we had the Braves get embarrassed by the Padres. Brewers had a little fight in them, but the Mets, they're playing well right now. The Mets, I think they're going to go the distance with the Phillies. I think that's going to go 5 games. And then I've been waiting to say this: the Stros and the O's got swept as well, and was happy to see that. Kansas City, man, would really love to see them advance. I don't though. I think the Yankees got too much.
They
Too
played
much
it later
juice.
tonight. Yeah,
Mhm.
along
Yep,
with
that'll
the
be game
Tigers
2.
and Guardians play tonight as well.
And I don't think anyone's stopping Cleveland, man. I think that becomes Cleveland, and I think the former Indians are going to win the pennant out there over the Yankees in the ALCS. The NL, I think, is a little bit more open. Gosh, that Phillies Mets series is going to be a lot of fun. I really think the Mets can win that if they take care of business at home. They've got a good shot. And then the other side, the Dodgers, they're just so fragile this time of year. I think against the
Under a
Padres, they do
microscope.
end up
Yeah,
right. I do think they end up taking that series, but dare I say that the New York Mets make the World Series? Is that legal?
that is so weird. And it's also weird that the Royals and Yankees is the only matchup of non-divisional opponents, and I think
Yeah,
that's
well,
super fun.
that's why they call it the divisional series, right?
Right. Like it's so fun when you have those teams who know each other so well and usually hate each other. The Padres
Right.
and Dodgers, as a Giants fan, of course I hate both and I'm on the outside looking in, but like I feel like that's not like the rivalry that is now. Phillies and Mets, that's a thing. Giants,
Yes.
Dodgers, that's a thing. We're terrible. Thanks to the Cardinals, we had a losing record. But
Sorry about that again.
Padres, Dodgers, I don't think that's as big a deal. Cleveland and Detroit, like, Detroit hasn't been good enough for it to be a thing,
Right.
really.
But it's still blue collar baseball.
Oh,
And it's
for
just
sure.
two of
Those
those
fan bases
historic
are like
cities.
the same, you feel
Yes.
like.
Yep.
And it's still
Both mistakes
fun
on
to
the
see.
lake, really. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, baseball definitely has us buzzing a little bit, especially when you're drunk. Then it definitely has you buzzing. So I want to get into. So again, we've talked about just on our group chat sometimes, and I think it was a couple days ago. I don't remember if it was Friday, but I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And Ti had to remind me that Utah has a hockey team because I thought what was happening, I'll be honest, for a split second, I thought, in the preseason, how sometimes teams will play like Latin America, and you'll be like, what? The Houston Rockets are just playing Latin America or something, right? Like they just play like random and it
It was
said
back in
Utah.
1996 when Central Florida played the Moscow Bears in the college football game, the national Russian team. That
That's
happened.
exactly what I mean. Exactly. See, you knew. But like it said Utah Hockey Club. So I was like, is this the rec center at the YMCA that they just got some guys like, hey, we need this matchup for the preseason. We got to get our boys ready. And then Ti's like, no, dude, it's from Arizona. They have a team. And I was like, oh, we talked about this. I remember that, but I was like, oh, I totally forgot. It just looks weird to see their emblem and their logo and like Utah Hockey Club and like what? Um, but this is the time of year when we talked about this where, I remember there was a time on this same exact day, I refer to it as heaven. The San Jose Sharks, San Francisco Giants, Golden State Warriors, and San Francisco 49ers all played on the same day. And it was like, is this heaven? No, it's the Bay Area.
Clearly
Like
not. Clearly
it
not.
was
Heaven.
just, I mean, it is pretty cool when all four of your favorite teams play on the same day. And there's potential of that now. It's coming. Like it's time. It's almost here. Like it's like Christmas. I know,
Well, we've
Miles.
got-
At least you feel that way.
I mean, NBA preseason just started, right? I think NBA preseason,
Yeah.
and we have the greatest sport of all. We're wrapping up the WNBA, moving on to the championship. You
LeBron
know,
James.
I thought we were going to carve out time for the WNBA playoffs in this episode, you guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're out of time.
Yeah. Anyway, the NHL opening night is tomorrow night. Now, there have been a couple games. The Devils taking down the Sabres, which that matters because the Devils have been down for a while, but they are rising once again. And New Jersey's going to be a contender for the Stanley Cup, and most importantly, Nashville Preds, baby. Here we come. We're going to lift Lord Stanley for the first time in franchise history. Hell, first championship in Nashville history. Happening 2025. Mark it. Write it down. Put it in blood for all I care.
So I am looking right now. I don't see it. Predators. Ah ha ha ha. This is really weird, but January 21st, the Predators are home to a 1 San Jose Sharks. Here's where it gets weird. 2 days later, they play at San Jose Sharks. That's really strange.
They turn it right around.
That's really weird. So you have a home and away 2 days apart. So I don't know. My birthday's the end of January. That could be a fun little trip to go to. Well, man, the only problem is darn tootin' sports. It's a Tuesday, so like I don't know how that could work out, but I'd be down.
You're an adult, right?
I'm an adult.
Just do it. You just be like, hey guys, I gotta do this thing, and you go do it.
I gotta drive to Tennessee to watch hockey because that's what they do in Tennessee where it gets super cold. They play hockey just like in San Jose. That's how excited we are in January where it probably won't be snowing.
Arizona. I mean, I guess that's why they left because
to go play in Utah where they do play. Yeah.
All right.
We've reached our quota for time on hockey, so I guess we have to
turn to
on.
WNBA.
No. Not when Bronny James scored his first points and got his first block, and he got 3 blocks in that game. So there was a meme.
That cherry pick stat was like the first player other than Dwayne Wade to record 3 blocks in his first preseason game. Like, what kind of ridiculous ESPN stat is that?
I'll tell you how.
Get out of here.
There's a meme that it said it had Kobe's first preseason where he was 0-0-0, and then it had Bronny like 2 points. Oh well, he's already 2 points better.
On like 1 for 6 shooting.
Yeah.
He said my success has nothing to do with my father. Like, bro, okay.
Oh man, that was so bad.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and there's people commenting on Facebook like, bro,
what success?
You scored 3 points in college. You weren't even the best player on your team, and you think that it's not about your dad.
Close.
And now, do I still? I will say, and we'll have plenty of time to talk more about this. But it's now the preseason, and he's already in a jersey. I think it is honestly cool if they can get him on a 10-day contract and he suits up with his dad and throws him a lob. Dude, that will be cool. I don't care how much you want to make fun of LeBron James. You cannot ever take that away, but you're gonna have to send him down. You're gonna have he cannot take up a roster spot. And if he does, all that signals is that JJ Redick is on strings, which we already think he is anyway. And again, we will get into this way more as it gets into that actual season, about the new faces in different places, the Karl Anthony Towns and Klay Thompson. And it's weird to see Klay Thompson's social media because I follow him and all this Dallas stuff. I'm like, no, wait, that's a typo. No, he's really with Dallas. So plenty of time to talk NBA.
He's kind of on the decline. It's not a big loss
for sure. But Dallas is not on the decline, and so that ups him.
Sure.
Right, a rising tide lifts all ships.
Is Dallas keeping Kyrie? Is he still there? Is Kyrie Irving still there? Okay.
From what I've heard, they're happy with Kyrie. Like,
yeah, I mean, management. He's
a good teammate.
I mean, I'm sure
Luka loves him.
Mark Cuban can manage him just fine, you know?
Yeah. Well, when you win, I mean, winning heals a lot of things, and you make it to the finals.
Eclectic personalities seem to guide each other. I mean, Phil Jackson, Dennis Rodman got along great, you know? It's just like, and I'm not saying that Kyrie Irving is a head case like Rodman. It's just he is a very eclectic individual. I mean, he's, flat earther. Like, he is very proud about that. So that's a different mindset you got to manage as a professional athlete. So I'm sure Mark Cuban does a good job there.
Yeah. The last thing we want to definitely end with is RIP to Dikembe and Pete Rose. A lot of people are dying. The dad from Good Times, I think he also played. No, he wasn't the one. I get him mixed up with the guy who had a small part in Fresh Prince as Will's real dad. But that wasn't him. I always get him mixed up because he had out of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air aired for 8 years or whatever it was. His dad had one episode where he came into his life and was gonna take him back to Philly and they were gonna hang out, and then he had to bail and Uncle Phil had to hug him and all that. And I always get that guy mixed up with the guy who died. So, because people are just dying now. I think they don't want to see. I think they're so frustrated that Vance and Waltz gave such good impressions. They're so frustrated that they can't run for office. And so they just decide they just don't want to be a part of Earth anymore. And I think they just... Undertaker, they just put their when Undertaker pinned people, right? He made their hands go like this. And I think that's what they're doing because they're like, we'd rather vote for Waltz and Vance. So that debate was honestly what we all hope debates can be. But instead, we watch the other debates for Miles, what do you call it?
Laughs.
No, remember the shirt you made?
Shoot, back in the day, we're going to make America grapes again.
Well, Circus Maximus.
Oh, Civic Circus Maximus. There's a throwback. God.
Throwback.
I could not remember that one from...
The only reason we watched the debate.
8-9 years ago.
Make America grapes again is a good slogan for a wine company. That would be a really good slogan for a wine company.
Right.
Make America grapes
Future
again.
Sponsor of Sports Idiot Nation.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Do you like wine? Make America grapes again.
And speaking of, the Civic Circus Maximus was a quote from Jay Severin, who also died in the last few years. So, RIP to to everyone that's a part of this body count that just is done with all this nonsense going on in the world anymore.
Yeah, so be sure again, like I said, follow us on social media. Get Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
We also lost Darth Vader too. I know it was a while back, but we also lost Darth Vader.
James Earl Jones.
You know,
They got his voice. Did you know that they can still use his voice? So I read this.
They got like him to do a bunch of recordings. They're like, well, just give him a script of stuff we might use one day.
Well, you joke, and they kind of did that. They have he signed on board that like they could with AI and stuff. You can make a voice sound just like James Earl Jones.
They made him do what we got Jay Harper to do and just make us a bunch of just random stuff that we're going to use.
Boom shakalaka.
Except it's Darth Vader, which is really cool. Good for Disney. Good for them. I guess if they froze Walt Disney, I guess they could steal James Earl Jones' voice.
Oh, that you can do a lot. That's for sure. So again, be sure to follow us on social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you're calling it. Again, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. YouTube is the most fun way to watch. Be a part of. Hey. Be our 5,000th subscriber. That would be cool. Maybe we can. There's not a way to like find out who that is, huh? That'd be awesome.
You can get balloons come down. I think if I put my thumbs up or something.
Oh yeah, if we keep doing this or
balloons.
something.
Yeah, there we go.
Fireworks this time. Fireworks.
That's what you get.
Excellent.
That's what you'll get if you're our 5,000th follower.
That's what you get, you freaking idiot.
And you get a T-shirt that says "Make America Grapes Again."
He's gonna make America grapes again.
We don't have the wine.
That was
yet,
an
though.
SNL
We don't have the
skit,
wine.
with drunk uncle.
Bobby Moynihan.
Yes.
Yep. Drunk Uncle was a classic, and they're like interviewing him, and he's like, "So why are you gonna vote for Donald Trump?" Because he's gonna make America grapes again.
His dad gave him $1 million loan. I talked to my dad. He told me to leave him alone. His wife's Melania, and that's what my doctor says this is on my neck for melanoma.
Bobby Moynihan, classic. That was so good. So again, new episodes every Monday and Thursday. So keep us locked in at Sports Idiot Nation, and we will see you Thursday.
Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.